strategies, habit stacking, batching, and sequencing. Mental faculty, willpower in the game of life. In the game of life, willpower is one of your most essential character stats. Research shows that willpower, or the ability to control your actions and decisions, is even more important than intelligence. As Adam Kirk Smith says, the point isn't to become smarter, but to become more self-disciplined. Willpower is the mental energy you use to make decisions and take actions aligned with your goals, even when distractions and temptations try to pull you off course. What is willpower? In this game, willpower is your ability to take action, especially when it's not the easiest or most appealing choice. It's like choosing to push your character through a tough level in a video game when you'd rather take an easier route. Willpower is what keeps you on your path when you'd prefer to stray. Whether it's saying no to a tempting piece of cake when you're on a diet, getting up early to train your character's physical stats, or sticking to a study routine when distractions abound. Willpower is your tool for moving your character forward in the game, especially when your instincts or subconscious habits want to take the easy path. This is where the real effort comes into play. Just like any resource in a game, willpower is limited and needs careful management. It's a resource that can deplete as you make more decisions throughout your day. Making choices that require resisting an easier, more tempting option costs more willpower. But, just like in a game, there are strategies you can use to conserve and maximize this valuable resource. Keep your state high. Just as your character needs rest and food to maintain energy, you need to keep yourself well-fed, rested, and balanced. When you're hungry, tired, or feeling deprived, your willpower gauge drops fast. Plan your moves. Strategically, spread demanding tasks over several days instead of trying to accomplish everything at once. Mix in easier tasks to balance your energy use. Tackle high willpower tasks. First, start with the most challenging or essential tasks when your willpower gauge is full. This makes the more difficult tasks achievable before your willpower depletes. Reduce the need for willpower. Just as in any game, the fewer distractions you have, the easier it is to focus. Set up your environment to minimize temptation. Eliminate unnecessary choices that drain your willpower. Where does willpower come from? Where there's a will, there's a way. In the game of life, willpower is a resource that, like health or stamina in a game, requires effort to build and maintain. Yes, you do have a limited amount of willpower each day, and each decision costs some of this resource. Think of willpower as the energy needed to fight off enemies or obstacles in your game. Just like trying to resist a craving or quitting a bad habit, using willpower is about pushing through the discomfort to reach a higher level in your game. By overstanding and managing your willpower, you can strategically guide your character through tougher levels, avoiding unnecessary setbacks and maintaining momentum. Every time you choose to exert willpower, you're effectively leveling up, becoming stronger, and moving closer to winning your game of life. It is great to have a vision, and even better to have a plan. Having a plan is great, but once you have your plan, you can supercharge it. Let's go over practical hacks and processes you can use to habit stack, batch, and sequence all your tasks in order to reach your finish line faster by streamlining everything. With any goal and all its associated tasks, how you do the tasks, and in what order can make a massive difference. First, we will go over why multitasking does not work, and why you need to eliminate it completely from your work routine. From here on out, you will not multitask with your time or days. In fact, if possible in your life, it is best to dedicate an entire day to one large goal, a linchpin move, cross it off, then do the same the next day. You will accomplish 10x more in a week if you do only one thing all day and then only one thing the next day. This is known as Fordism. Now, I realize that is not possible for everyone, and depending on what type of job you have or how many moving pieces you have in your game of life, you may not be able to dedicate entire days to one task, as you have multiple tasks that need to get done every day. In that case, you will learn 4 main strategies to help streamline your tasks and reach your finish line faster by compounding your tasks. The 4 main strategies we are going to go over are 1. Habit stacking. 2. Sequencing, officially known as Fordism. 3. Time blocking and batching, multitasking. The myth and reality. Multitasking is a fallacy. Your brain cannot multitask. While multitasking is often glorified, it's not actually possible. But what is multitasking, and what is happening in the brain when you attempt it? Many people don't realize that multitasking is a myth. They proudly claim to be multitaskers, believing it makes them more productive. But in reality, it's just task switching. Each time your brain switches from one task to another, it becomes exhausted. This constant switching causes decision fatigue. Did you know you can actually run out of willpower and decision-making ability throughout the day? You have a limited supply of these each day. Yes, that's a real thing. It is commonly believed that juggling multiple tasks at once is a valuable skill that enhances productivity and efficiency. However, recent research suggests that multitasking is more of a myth than reality. You can break down this illusion by examining the neuroscience of task switching and cognitive load. The illusion of multitasking. Multitasking is often seen as a valuable skill in today's fast-paced society, but research suggests it is a myth. Crenshaw, 2008, proved that humans are not capable of multitasking, but rather task switching, which is the process of shifting focus from one task to another. The brain cannot fully focus on multiple tasks at once. When it tries, the quality of work suffers. Every time the brain switches tasks, it needs to readjust, resulting in errors and decreased productivity. Additionally, multitasking can lead to increased stress levels and decreased overall well-being. Instead of attempting to multitask, instead focusing on one task at a time, which results in better quality work and less overwhelm. Overall, the myth of multitasking is a dangerous illusion that leads to decreased productivity and increased stress. Alternatives to multitasking, such as batch tasking and habit stacking, can help you be more productive and focused. Even having social media and email tabs open in your web browser can derail your focus, even if you're not immediately addressing notifications. Despite this data, workers feel busier than ever. Completing small tasks and moving information around may make us feel busy and accomplished, but it can prevent us from truly focusing. Task switching, the real culprit. Task switching is a common cognitive process. Studies have shown that task switching is associated with increased activation in the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functions like working memory, attention, and decision-making. Cognitive load, which refers to the mental effort required to perform a task, is associated with increased activation in the parietal cortex, which is responsible for visual and spatial processing. This process exhausts the brain. Each time you task switch, or multitask, you drain your energy, leaving little left for actually completing tasks. Task switching is the real cause of decision fatigue. Decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a phenomenon that occurs when you face a large number of decisions, decreasing their ability to make rational and effective choices. Studies have shown that decision fatigue can lead to poor decision-making, as you are more likely to make impulsive choices rather than logical ones. It can also lead to increased procrastination and avoidance of making decisions altogether. Studies suggest that one way to combat decision fatigue is to simplify the decision-making process by limiting the number of choices presented to yourself. This can be achieved by providing clear and concise information, reducing the number of options, and breaking complex decisions into smaller, more manageable tasks. Understanding the effects of decision fatigue and implementing strategies to combat it can improve decision-making abilities and overall quality of life. Decision fatigue is a real phenomenon that affects all of us at some point. It is caused by ego depletion, which is the depletion of our self-control resources. When faced with too many decisions, our ability to make good choices decreases, making us susceptible to poor decisions. To avoid decision fatigue, it's essential to prioritize our decisions and delegate some to avoid overburdening ourselves. Taking regular breaks, practicing mindfulness, and establishing routines can help reduce the number of decisions you make daily, preserving our decision-making abilities and leading to better choices. The more desires you resist, the less likely you are to resist them later in the day. Eventually, you'll give in or give up. The more you try to resist an urge, habit, or desire, the more likely it will persist. The more you think about resisting it, the more it dominates our thoughts. You've probably experienced this. The harder you try to quit something, the more you end up doing or consuming it. This is because what you focus on, you bring about. By resisting so hard, you give it enough mental energy to bring it to life, and you end up doing exactly what you wanted to avoid. Knowing this, It makes sense to tackle tasks related to changing habits in the first half of our day, when willpower is high and resistance is low. Multitasking versus habit stacking. Habit stacking. Put your hand up if you fall victim to not feeling like you have done enough. Are you your own worst critic? Society and watching everyone on social media can make you feel like your life just is not on track. But it is. Remember, you can have or do anything you want in life, but you can't do it all. Pick and choose what matters to you most. Then, make a list and do everything you can that day to the best of your ability, but do not try to do tomorrow's work. Remember, you are no good to anyone or yourself if you are burnt out. Now, I want you to go back through the rules you made for life and look at what habits could be paired together or what could be batched. You will look at my list for examples. Let me show you what I habitually stack to eliminate resistance and form a trigger to help me remember to perform the actions until they become automated. Okay, so you learned the brain cannot multitask. But remember, multitasking means task switching, where you are going back and forth between tasks. You have learned your brain can't do that. But your brain can do two things at once at the same time if it is not switching tasks. Yes, this is a great brain hack. It is called habit stacking. Your brain can't multitask because of the way it processes tasks. Remember, your brain is a piece of equipment and thus has ways it works best and ways it doesn't. So you need to know what processes do work and what it can perform so you can hack it. See, habit stacking is not task switching, where you go back and forth. Habit stacking is doing two tasks at the same time. Easy example. Every time I walk on the treadmill, I will answer my emails. Or every time I am doing my makeup in the bathroom mirror in the morning, I will listen to that motivational podcast or inspirational talk. Your brain is not switching back and forth between walking or typing your emails, nor is it switching tasks as you apply your makeup and listen. It is doing both at the same time. Thus there is no switching, and thus there is no exhaustion. Now, you can't pair everything together, but there are a lot of tasks that you can pair together and habit stack in your day to compound your time without exhausting your brain by multitasking. Level complete. You have just leveled up. Continue to the next lesson.